Okay, so let's dive into the story of two of the world's absolute top space agencies, ISRO and NASA. What's so fascinating is how they took completely different, radically different paths to the stars. It's this incredible tale of giants and underdogs, of just massive budgets versus brilliant, frugal innovation. Right? It's a fantastic question. It's this puzzle that, when you solve it, it reveals two totally different ways of thinking about exploration and progress. So let's unpack exactly how India's space program managed to pull off what seemed totally impossible, and what that means for the future of space travel for all of us. To really get how ISRO pulls off these incredible feats, you have to go all the way back to its beginnings, which are, frankly, almost unbelievable. This story doesn't start in some high-tech, shiny lab. It starts with pure grassroots grit. So back in 1962, it was called INCOSPAR. And from the very beginning, ISRO's early days were a story of just pure determination. While the US and the USSR were locked in this epic Cold War space race, India's goal was totally different. They wanted to use space tech to solve problems right here on the ground, leading to these huge milestones like the SLV-3, their first ever satellite launch vehicle. And listen, that is not an exaggeration. That's the literal truth of how ISRO started. For their first launch in 1963, the rocket parts were actually transported on the back of a bicycle to a launch pad in a small fishing village. Can you even picture that? From day one, ISRO's whole identity was forged by making the absolute most out of very, very little. So these super humble beginnings, they created a philosophy that was completely different from its American counterpart. And this difference, it isn't just about the money, it's about the fundamental mindset, the money and the methods that guide each agency. We can really break it down into these three areas. So here's the crucial point. NASA was created looking outward, right? To beat a rival, to explore the great unknown, for the sake of science, and let's be honest, for prestige. ISRO, on the other hand, was created looking inward. They wanted to use satellites for weather forecasting, for mapping resources, for communication, things that would directly improve the lives of their citizens. And this visualizes the staggering financial reality that shapes literally everything they do. NASA's annual budget is often more than 15 times larger than ISRO's. Think about it this way. What NASA spends in a single month can be more than ISRO's entire budget for the whole year. But for ISRO, this constraint isn't a weakness. It's the defining feature that forces their totally unique approach. So yeah, that budget constraint forced ISRO to develop this unique, hyper-efficient model. They build almost everything themselves to slash costs. They use existing national infrastructure like the railways for transport. And maybe most ingeniously, instead of building these giant, fuel-guzzling rockets, they use Earth's gravity as a slingshot. They literally loop a spacecraft around our planet to build up speed before flinging it out into deep space. It's a way slower journey, sure, but it saves an incredible amount of fuel. And the results of all that frugal, brilliant thinking? The Gaganyaan mission to Mars. It cost just $74 million, making India the first nation in history to reach Mars on its very first try. And just for context, the Hollywood movie The Martian, the one about getting stranded on Mars, had a budget of $108 million. ISRO got to the real Mars for a fraction of the cost of a movie about it. Wild. But, space exploration isn't just about these amazing missions to distant planets. The problems you have to solve to get there, they end up creating incredible technology that changes our lives right here on Earth. And that's true for both of these agencies. With its absolutely massive R&D budget, NASA's quest for the stars has led to some pretty mind-blowing inventions that you probably use every single day, often without even having a clue where they came from. It's a direct result of their philosophy. Solve these huge, unprecedented problems for the sake of exploration. Okay, think about this. Memory foam, that was first developed for astronaut seats. Those compact heart pumps, the VADs, they use fluid dynamics principles that were figured out for the space shuttle's fuel pumps. And maybe the most amazing one of all, the tiny, super high-quality camera sensor in your phone, it exists today because NASA needed to shrink imaging technology way down for its deep space missions. All right, so now let's see how this works for ISRO, because their focus is on national needs. Their innovations have a direct, almost immediate impact right back home. So this list really highlights ISRO's practical focus. They developed Navik, which is their own version of GPS, and it's even more accurate over the Indian subcontinent. Their satellites map water resources for farmers, they help predict cyclones, which saves countless lives, and they've even developed secure quantum communications for national security. It's space tech, but space tech with a very specific purpose.
So, where do we go from here? Let's look ahead for a minute, because both of these agencies have incredibly ambitious plans that are going to define the next decade of space exploration. It's going to be exciting.
The next few years are just packed. You've got NASA, laser-focused on the Artemis program, aiming to land humans back on the moon, but this time on the South Pole. At the same time, ISRO is prepping for Gaganyaan, its very first crewed spaceflight. That's huge. It will make India only the fourth country to send its own citizens into space. And look, they're even collaborating on missions like NISAR, a joint satellite to watch over our changing planet.
So when you boil it all down, it comes to this. These two agencies represent two really powerful models of innovation. You have NASA, the Goliath of space exploration, with the resources to just push the absolute boundaries of science. But then you have ISRO, the master of efficiency, who's proven that having constraints can be the mother of world-class invention. They've really created a potential blueprint for other developing nations to reach for the stars. And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought. As all of humanity continues to reach for the cosmos with all these new players and new challenges, what's really going to drive our progress? Is it the brute force of a massive budget that pioneers new frontiers? Or is it the elegant power of a clever, efficient idea that makes space accessible to everyone? The truth is, the future of exploration is probably going to need a little bit of both.